guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Clash Royale, and today I'm going to fulfill a very popular request. It is, Ash, give me some really good trophy pushing decks with no legendary cards for ladder, for trophies, for arena 8, 9, 10, and 11. So that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to be using my main account, as you can see right here, and then we're going to switch over to my free-to-play account after that, because I only have a level, I think, 1 or 2 skeleton army and dart goblin on my free-to-play. So I'm going to start out again on my main account here. We're going to play this over 5,000 trophies, and then we're going to switch over to siege decks, Mortar and Xbow, because essentially Hog, Mortar, and Xbow are my favorite win conditions for no legendary cards, especially for ladder. So let's start out with this Hog deck. I want to talk about why we have the Dart Goblin, the Skarmy, the Inferno Tower instead of Tornado, because Tornado is everywhere right now and it's certainly a really popular card, but Golem is starting to be everywhere too, specifically Golem Lumberjack decks and Golem Night Witch decks. They're everywhere, so Tornado not so good against Golem, so we've switched over to Inferno Tower. It also gives you a more robust defense for giant decks, lava loon decks as well, so it can really help you out against those really heavy decks. That's why I actually like Inferno Tower in this deck instead of Tornado. So here we have the bait deck, and look at this. He drops his golem with 2 minutes, or a minute into the game, I should say. Drops his golem in back of the king tower. That's actually going to be a mistake since he knows I'm playing bait. It allows me to take down that right tower with just the goblin gang as well as the goblin barrel. So now I'm going to pull this golem into the left-hand lane here. He probably has lightning or zap. He does. He has lightning, so we're going to go ahead and see if the Inferno Tower can finish off that golem. It cannot, so we're forced to play the Skarmy here. Now, unfortunately, almost all of our skeletons, one little skeleton is left alive there to help with the golemites, but I'm going to have to rely on the Dart Goblin to take care of both of these golemites as well as the baby dragon. So it's a totally 100% maxed out deck that we're going against here, so we're going to have to really remain defensively sound and also aggressive during the right moments, like this. We know he was kind of short on elixir, so we played the Hog Rider, and the Dart Goblin from defense came over into the left lane. So he actually had to use 7 elixir, the Lumberjack and the Minions, to defend that Hog Rider and the Dart Goblin we already had. So it was a 4 for 7 elixir trades. That was good for us. And that's really the name of the game here. The more you play Hog Bait or Zap Bait or Log Bait, the more you'll get a feel for when to really go super aggressive. Like now here. I didn't even know he had arrows. That's the first time he played arrows this match, guys. I'm going to play the Hog Rider in the pocket to tank for that Dart Goblin. Dart Goblin's so lethal when you can provide any sort of tankage. And look, guys, we got that left tower down to 911 HP, and now we have our Inferno Tower on the board, so we're looking pretty good here. We have Goblin Gang and Skeleton Army in this deck, so it is really a classic bait deck. We have a lot of troops that the opponent can use their log or their arrows or their zap on. And now make sure you throw the Goblin Barrel before you place down the Hog Rider, because there is that 2 or 3 seconds of travel time for that Goblin Barrel in the air. So the Hog Rider placed second will actually be able to still tank for the Goblin Barrel. So now we're just going to spam all our troops here on defense. We're going to be able to protect this left tower, believe it or not, guys, against this really heavy maxed out Golem deck. So we'll give the guy a well played, and then we'll move on to the next match. I really love this deck. It's really aggressive, really offensive oriented, and it also has a pretty good defensive arsenal as well in the Skeleton Army, in the Goblin Gang, of course the Inferno Tower. So this is really the closest thing to a hybrid between chip, bait, and control that you can possibly find right now. Even Dart Goblin is so strong on defense. So in the beginning of a match here, I'm not afraid to go ahead and start out with just the Goblin Barrel and see what my opponent has to counter it. In this case, it's going to be a Bomber. It's been a while since we've seen the Bomber, but believe it or not, guys, according to Stats Royale, Bomber is making a big comeback along with the Witch. They're actually in way more decks than they have been. They vaulted up in the card popularity index on Stats Royale. So here comes a big heavy beatdown push. This could be trouble. We have the Dart Goblin, excuse me, right in front of the Crown Tower, but unfortunately one of those skeletons is going to lock onto him, but we still had pretty good defense. Well, pretty good. We had really good defense with that Inferno Tower, Dart Goblin, skeletons, and yeah, this deck is so fast and it's so versatile. If they use their zap or their arrows or their log against your Skarmy, then play your Goblin Gang. Don't play them at the same exact time though, because then you're susceptible to one spell taking out both of your swarm units. So here again, we're just going to chip away. We know that he doesn't have a great answer for the Goblin Barrel, and that's going to be trouble for my opponent here. So he plays a Witch behind the tower that I'm targeting. This is going to be great fireball value. So you see I used the Hog Rider there to essentially keep that Dark Goblin alive, and look at that value on that fireball. Are you kidding me? Dark Goblin's going to clean everything up, and at this point in the match, I know I have it in the bag. He's really not even touched my tower, and I've been able to play really, really good defense with the Inferno tower and my swarm units. So again here, guys, I'm just going to wait to get more elixir. He drops his giant again in the right-hand lane, so now I'm going to start focusing on the left a little bit and keep the pressure coming. I don't want to go right directly into his big beatdown push, but you can see that was a lucrative left lane Goblin Barrel. He chooses not to defend against it, so I know he's going to come at me with something really heavy in the right. He uses his lightning there. I didn't like that lightning. I'm still going to be able to take out that giant because he didn't play any support group troops behind it. Support troops, Ash. So here comes that log there. So we had log the entire time. Interesting. I'm going to fireball in Goblin Barrel, and look at all that damage. The left tower is now down to 1265. Now, I don't love the fact that I've split my damage this much here, but I have to remain smart, and at the same time, realize that I haven't really taken any damage to my towers, so I'm in the position to kind of pick and choose the best lane to push. And again, he's going to semi-ignore that Hog Rider. I'm actually going to take this left tower right here, and now I can just play defense again in the right. So there's an Ice Wizard and a Witch. I'm going to use my Skeleton Army against that, and then I'm going to wait and then drop the Goblin Gang. He already burned his log, so it wasn't up in rotation immediately on that push. It was a late log on his part. I'm going to keep attacking here. I probably would have taken this right tower. Maybe not. But either way, you can see how this deck works. So guys, let's go ahead and transition into the next deck. It's going to be a Mortar cycle deck. It's a lot of fun, so I'll come right back to you when I'm on my free-to-play account. And look at this, through the magic of editing, I'm on my free-to-play account, guys. So welcome to Clash with Ash YouTube. I am in Arena 9 Jungle Arena, and I'm going to be playing Mortar Cycle. The reason I like this deck so much is it's really fast. We can cycle to our Mortar really, really quickly, and we're going to be using Zap in this deck. Now, if you have Log, based on Clash Royale, the best Mortar cycle deck is actually Log instead of Zap, but we can get by with Zap as well, especially now that Skarmy is back in the meta after the skeleton nerf. So here we go, we're going to start out by cycling. Even if the Mortar is in my opening hand, or if I can cycle to the Mortar, I don't necessarily want to play it right off the bat. So this is great rocket value here, guys. When you can get rocket value such as this, absolutely take it. Now, I did a lot of damage to that right tower and took out that Electro Whiz. So he's coming at me with a Balloon and a Witch. Not necessarily a super strong combo. We want to make sure that Balloon does not get to the tower. He has Rage as well. So we're going to stop that Balloon using the Ice Spirit, or delay that Balloon, and then using the Mortar, excuse me, on defense to distract. So we need a cough button here on CWA, guys. Oh, by the way, did you notice the channel name change? CWA, no more Clash with Ash. I mean, I'm still Ash, but no more Clash with Ash. CWA Gaming, because I do anticipate covering Brawl Stars. Hopefully double uploads every single day in the future when Brawl Stars hits global release. So anyway, that's neither here nor there, but I figured I'd change from Clash with Ash, Clash Royale, Clash of Clans. I mean, what a long and obnoxious name. So here we go. We have our first Mortar on the board here, guys, and check this out. He plays the Skarmy. I'm able to zap, get great value out of that zap, take out the Skarmy, and take out the E-Wiz. Now check this out. Now I have all those archers behind the knight onto the right tower. Remember, I hit him with that early rocket as well. I know he has Balloon in hand here, so I want to be ready with this rocket on my next Mortar. So what I want to do here is probably play the skeletons in the back and then play the Mortar at the bridge here. So here comes skeletons. Obviously, I pre-recorded this, guys. I just find my commentary so much better if I pre-record the live matches and then I talk over them and talk about what I'm doing. So at this point, I'm like, where's the Balloon, guys? Where's this Balloon? I was ready for that Balloon right on the Mortar, and it looks like he has given up. And that will happen a lot, especially in siege decks. They can be incredibly frustrating. I mean, the rocket is one of the most annoying cards to go against. I mean, way below elite barbarians and stuff like that. but the rocket is still annoying nonetheless. It can get tremendous value, and you can see my opponent here unfortunately just gave up early on in this match. I would never give up this early in the match. I mean, of course, he could have lost Wi-Fi as well, but I don't know what happened there. Either way, we're gonna quickly 3-crown my opponent and move on to the next match, which I believe was a loss. Womp womp. But hey, I show you the matches that I play. I don't selectively pick the wins and hide the losses. So let's look at who beat me and why in the next match. Sorry for that spoiler. I'm not sure if you guys like that I told you that I lost ahead of time, but hey, it happens. But let's look for any mistakes that I made here. So I'm going against Matrix from Nova Esports, and I gotta say that well, I'll leave the surprise for you guys. But I was not impressed with how this ended, this match here. So here we go. We have skeletons. We're just going to cycle in the back. But I don't want to cycle my Ice Spirit because I don't know what my opponent's playing, and I might need it, as you saw in that previous match where I really needed that Ice Spirit to delay that balloon. So I don't want to cycle Ice Spirit unless I really have to. If anything, I'll play the Ice Spirit directly on the bridge. So here, I'm going to use a rocket, maybe a questionable rocket, actually. Obviously, I'm not going to kill the Valkyrie. Take her down to about 15, 20 HP percent left, and now I have this push coming in. I thought the Zap might be able to finish off that Valk. I was wrong. I'm gonna have to end up burning an Ice Spirit here to make sure that nobody targets my tower there. You can see the tower able to finish off the Bomber and the Executioner in the left there, so I feel pretty good about that start. However, things are gonna get a little bit rocky from here on out. Now, guys, I know you guys feel my pain here. I know you feel my pain. I have level 8 and 9 commons, and I mean, my Mortar's level 9, thankfully. My Archers are level 9, and then almost everything else, and my Knight is too. So actually, this deck is pretty good for me. But check this out in just a second here. I'm going to be going against, I think, level 11 Elite Barbarians. Are you kidding me? When I saw that, I was just like, ah, whatever. I mean, it is what it is, right? I mean, you can't complain and nag all day. I'm sure I made mistakes that I could have actually won this match on, but when you see the level 11 Elite Barbarians, it's like, you gotta be kidding me, which is okay. I mean, it happens. So I'm gonna cycle my Mortar again. I'm not sure where he is on Elixir right now, but I know he doesn't have enough to throw a ton of defense at me, and I guess maybe I was wrong. He played Valkyrie and Ice Wiz, meaning he had at least 7 Elixir there, so I'm really not able to defend that Mortar. I think that Mortar on my part was a really aggressive play, and in hindsight, it was probably a mistake. You have to be aware of how much Elixir your opponent has, and that will dictate when you're going to play your Mortar in this deck. So I'm forced to rely on those Archers for defense there and do my best against that Bomber and the Ice Wiz in the left lane. Again, I'm going to play the Mortar because that felt like a really strong and expensive push on his part in the left lane. I'm immediately going to place down my Knight. As soon as you guys realize what counters your opponent has to your win condition, you want to save them and then preemptively play them right after the Mortar, as I did there with the Knight. Essentially, that Knight was able to tank and distract that Executioner, and I was able to actually get a decent amount of damage. Now, that Rocket was a big mistake here. Unfortunately, he had enough Elixir to play those Elite Barbarians, and now it's going to be R.I.P. Ash. So I made a decent amount of mistakes here. I guess this makes up for the opponent who rage quit. Only one Elite Barbarian left standing there in the left. I'm going to let him go ahead and get to my King Tower. Unfortunately, there's not a lot I can do. I'm hoping for one rocket hit, and then I can finish off my opponent with a rocket here. But either way, hey, Elite Barbarians got the best of me, and then he BMs me at the end. I have one message to you, Matrix. Tequila. Sorry guys, I had to, but I blurted it out. But if any of you guys missed CCGS, man, that was a great moment. That was a great moment by Suarez, answering to Royale, who BM'd the heck out of him in a live match when he wasn't even there. Royale, the player who did the BMing, was at home in Romania, and the player who took it hard live in front of, you know, hundreds of thousands of people who got BM'd on camera with Suarez, and he had a nice clever answer there. I'm sure many of us at home wanted to do the same thing. So we are into our next match here, guys, and we have a nice little push going in the right. We're gonna have to use our Ice Spirit to distract, and then we're forced to play the Mortar here, unfortunately, on defense to stop this Knight from getting to our left tower. A level 10 Knight at that, on a tower can do a lot of damage, so we could not have that happen. And check that out, guys. We got the right tower down to 470 HP. So even though we had to burn a mortar and kind of mess up our cycle, we're still pretty happy with the exchange. Obviously, we're in the lead. So now we have Baby Dragon coming in the left, and we know he has some sort of pretty big push maybe coming in the left. No. Okay, yes, I take it back. It's a graveyard deck. Oh, no. Okay, we have enough answers in this deck to graveyard. We have archers, which are a great counter. We also have knight, which is a great counter, and we have zap and arrows. So we should be able to stand up and do our best against graveyard now that we know that it's coming. Took us a little bit by surprise there. So guys, as you can see, we've switched our attention to the left tower now because we can rocket that right tower and take it out. We never want to go ahead and I think I make a mistake this match. I accidentally placed the mortar on the right tower instead of the rocket in just a few minutes here, or a few seconds, I guess. But that's a big mistake. You don't want to burn a mortar on a 384 HP tower when you have rocket. And you can tell that I misclicked by where I placed the mortar. It's like way out near the bridge, like directly on the bridge, because I meant to rocket. So that's going to be a mistake, but we're going to try to win nonetheless here. So we're going to play the mortar. We're focusing again on the left tower here, guys. I was expecting maybe an executioner to be played right on the bridge. Instead, he plays it near the tower. That's good for me. I'm going to use the rocket. That's why I played my knight, by the way. So I'm going to play archers in support here. Hopefully, or hoping that the Baby Dragon did not target the archers. I could have placed them just a second later would have been great. So this is where I make my big mistake here. Coming up, okay, I have to defend against the graveyard first. So defending against the graveyard, I'm going to go ahead and give him my left tower, excuse me. And then I'm going to place, oh no, I placed the mortar instead of the rocket. What a total noob I am. And to make matters worse, I don't even get great value. I get one hit from the mortar. I don't take the tower down. It doesn't really matter if we get one hit. We needed to take the tower down with only 3 seconds left. But we're going to go ahead and have to really concentrate on defending against this big push coming in. I'm going to use archers way up near the river there to take one hit away from that executioner and allow my skeletons on defense to do a little bit of work. I use arrows there even though there were only 2 skeletons left, but guess what, guys? That mortar got one hit down, and that was enough for me to finish it off with the rocket. The rocket mortar combo, just so incredibly powerful. He comes in with a late Baby Dragon graveyard, but it's not going to be enough, guys. We end up pulling off that victory, and even despite making quite a few mistakes there, let's be honest, guys. So let's move on to the third and final deck of today's video. It is an Xbow cycle deck. That's right, another Siege cycle deck. And it's a 3.0 Xbow deck. This is a classic deck, guys. If you don't want to play skeletons in here, you can go ahead and sub in Fire Spirits. And if you have the Law, you can sub that in for Zap if you want to. So we're going to hop right into the first match here against a level 10 Roger Smith here. Let's see what he is playing. We're going to start out by placing the Ice Spirit. Where do I put him? In back of the tower. I don't really like doing that. Not sure why I did it, but I did. I'd rather just attack with an Ice Spirit and either force my opponent to make a sloppy counter or just get a free 100 or so damage onto the crown tower. Instead, I get a little bit of chip damage, taking that Ice Wizard down to like, what, 90% health. Way to go, Ash. So this is going to be trouble here, guys. I have a Minion Horde coming in on the left, and I have a Baby Dragon and an Ice Wiz on the right. But look at that. The Xbow still locks. Thank God I just upgraded that Xbow to level 3, right? It still has enough health to do a decent amount of chip damage to that left tower. Now, we don't want a Baby Dragon to lock onto our tower with full health, so we're forced to counter with a knight there. I'm going to use the arrows to do more chip damage to the left side. That's the beauty of arrows, has that extra long extended radius as opposed to the fireball. So I was able to hit that left tower, and look at this. I'm going to drop a wow. We're seeing Sparky. She is everywhere. Okay, she's not really everywhere. Sparky's tough, but you can see I'm going to use my skeletons to defend there, and I know I don't need anything else. That full 4 seconds to charge for Sparky or whatever it is, it's just so long. That's what makes her not so powerful right now inside the meta. So that was a pretty good Goblin Barrel, but I'm going to counter with an Ice Spirit and Zap for a 3-for-3 trade, and I'll let my Inferno Tower take care of the Baby Dragon. So this time I can't get the arrows fast enough down to take out that princess, so I'm forced to use a knight instead. And he uses a Skarmy, which is cool with me. That's 6 elixir for 3, a positive elixir trade. Let's say it together, OJ. Positive elixir trade for yours truly there with the Skarmy and the Princess. You never want to play a Skarmy directly on top of the Princess there. That provides too much value, especially since he knew I already had arrows from my previous arrow that we talked about. So let's try the skeletons. We're going to prep for a big Xbow push here. Now, even though he plays the Sparky, I'm not worried because I have Ice Spirit and Zap in hand. I'm going to Zap first to allow my Ice Spirit to pop or hop or do whatever he does, jump onto that minion horde, and then I'm going to get tremendous value out of those arrows. Unfortunately, man, if I had just waited one more second, I would have been able to take out that Skarmy as well with the arrows, but it's no worries. I was able to clean up, but I wasn't able to do a lot of damage. And when you look at this, guys, this guy actually has the lead going in with 20 seconds left in this match. Are you kidding me? Ash, what are you doing here? But I just want to keep staying the course and playing smart defense here. I'm going to go ahead and let that Sparky take out my Inferno Tower. I'm going to save my Zap for the Skarmy there and the Sparky, but I know I need something else. I'm going to use the Knight, and then I'm able to cycle back to my arrows. That was a really strong push on his part, but I'm not too worried. I know every card in my opponent's hand at this point, and I know all I need is one big push with my Xbow, and I have a minute to pull it off. In the meantime, I'm pretty confident that I'm going to be able to play smart defense. So here we go. Inferno Tower onto the baby dragon, takes it out, and now it's going to be time for the big Xbow push that I've been waiting for. Using this Mega Minion, I have my arrows already hovering. He makes the mistake of playing the Skarmy on top of the Mega Minion. Again, big mistake there, and I'm able to capitalize by locking my Xbow finally onto that left tower. So here comes the Sparky. I have a Mega Minion locked onto that baby dragon or whatever the heck he just played. I don't even know what I'm talking about here. The Mega Minion doing some work, almost takes out that Princess. I'm able to zap and get tremendous value. And now with 10 seconds left, oh, did I lie and say I won this match? I guess I didn't say I won. I didn't tell you. It was a draw, guys. Womp womp. Almost, though. If only I had a little bit more direct damage, or if only, I don't know what I could have done differently there. That was a pretty tough match against someone with legendaries and higher level cards than me, but I still came out with a draw. I'll take it. So now let's move on to the next and probably final match. This is probably a longer episode for some of you guys. I thought about splitting this into 3 episodes, one for each individual deck, but instead I'll just give the timestamps and let you guys decide what you want to watch. Probably should have said that in the beginning of the video, not at the very end. Right, Ash? Way to go, dude. Way to go. So here comes the wizard in the right lane here. And while I'm defending this wizard, I'm thinking, it's Elite Barbarians again, guys. It's Elite Barbarians. Thankfully, they're not level 11 this time. I'm going to be able to defend really well against them with the Inferno Tower and the Knight to take out that wizard in the back. Unfortunately, I was not able to execute my Xbow push there. Now, if I was going against a beatdown deck, and unfortunately, we just didn't get matched up with a beatdown deck so far. But if I was going up against one, I would use my Inferno Tower differently in this deck. And that's why we like the Inferno Tower in an Xbow deck, right? My opponent kind of wasting, well, not kind of, totally wasting a 4 elixir Valkyrie there. That was good for me. And he knows it too, so I'll give him a thumbs up. But the thing is, Inferno Tower, if a tank was coming at me, or if I knew my opponent was going to drop a Hog Rider or a Giant directly on my Xbow, I would play my Inferno Tower right in front of my Xbow here. So back to this push here. Check it out. I shut down those Elite Barbarians using my Xbow, my Knight, my Ice Spirit, and now my Mega Minion will tank a little bit for my Xbow. And look at this, guys. I'm able to cycle cards really quickly with this deck because it's a fast cycle deck. And look at this. Mega Minion is... Oh, I thought he was going to get one shot off. He did not. But either way, that was pretty good defense by my opponent there. He knew he was going to be taking a lot of damage. I had the elixir lead, and I exchanged it for about half HP off that left tower. So now what are we gonna do, guys? I mean, we haven't been touched. Look at both of my towers are sitting very, well, barely touched at 2438 HP. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. He's coming really aggressive and hard in the right lane. I know I'm gonna be taking some damage. Unfortunately, that Ice Spirit was just not in enough time there, but the Knight's gonna do good work finishing off that Elite Barb. My right tower is now down to 1670 HP. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I could have done a little bit better there. His Inferno Tower, meanwhile, takes out my Xbow. I'm going to drop another Xbow in the left-hand lane, cycling very quickly here. I'm going to rely on the Ice Spirit, and look at this. Oh, no, I didn't see that rocket coming down in time. He got tremendous value out of that rocket, taking out my 10 elixir worth of troops. Are you kidding me? My Xbow and my, or 9 elixir and my Mega Minion on the left lane there. So that was not good. A 9-for-6 trade. I know he's going to be ready. I played my Inferno Tower a little bit higher up, so it locks onto his Inferno Tower, or at least distracts his Inferno Tower. I have my Zap ready to take out that Skarmy as well as the Inferno Tower. That Wizard's going to go down, and in just a moment, oh, I thought I was going to lock onto the tower. I did not, but the Xbow has so much HP that you can just keep cycling defensive or support cards in front of the Xbow, and here it is, guys. It's the double Xbow. It's what you've all been waiting for. Not really, but I'm able to zap, cycle back to zap again, take down that Inferno Tower, and finally, I get the lock on that tower that I was waiting for. I'm dropping the Knight a little bit to the left of the Xbow to make sure it distracts that Wizard, and the Xbow has already locked on. I'm going to send in the arrows just to finish it off there. I make sure with a sliver of health on my Xbow, I was able to come out with a victory. Whew, that was fun. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video where we covered Xbow cycle, Mortar cycle, and Hog Bait. 3 new meta variations, or at least adjusted a little bit to fit the current meta. Hope you enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun doing it. Guys, huge shout out to my YouTube partner, Bren Chong. You can find his information in the description below. Thank you so much for watching all the way till the end. I love you guys. Really appreciate it. Thanks. And as always, take care, guys.